Hare Krishna, good morning. This morning we will continue on proving by the scriptures and by Lord Buddha's pastimes that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Before I start, I pray to Srila Prabhupada. Om Ajnana Timanasya Chanansana Shalakan Sakshan Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Caitanya Manopistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svamarupagadamayam Dadanti Svanatpanamtikam Vandeham Shiyu Shiyuda Padakamalam Shiyom Vaishnavamsa Shirupam Jagajatam Sakanaragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savadutam Paritanataitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sankanalita Shikshakam Vitam. Hey Krishna Garunas Nudina Banda Chatpate Gopesha Koprakanta Radhakanta Namastate Tapta Kansana Gaun Gira Devi Navanishti Vishabhana Sutta Devi Pranamama Kripe Pankha Kalpa Vishan Kripas Nivavisa Patnam Pavanabhyo Vaishnabhyo Namah. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Vedanta Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Nirvishesha Srimyavadi Paskachani Desatani Srila Prabhupada ki. So yesterday we discussed about scriptural proof that Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we discussed about 3 verses of the Bhagavatam. The verse of Prahlad Maharaj, where he praised Lord Nrsimhadev and he says that in Kali Yuga you appear as Chana avatar and hidden avatar, and that you in Kali Yuga the Supreme Lord appears, but he does not assert himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because he appears as Bhakta Rupa in the form of his own devotee. And then we have heard the verse of Srimad Bhagavatam from the 10th canto, chapter 8, where Garga Muni performs the name-giving ceremony of Lord Krishna. And there he says, yes, this child appears in other ages as white, red, and yellow, and now he's appeared in a blackish form. So the yellow form is the golden form of Lord Chaitanya. And then we discussed the verse of the 11th chapter that is quoted the most, Krishna Varmam Tvisa Krishnam, that where Lord Chaitanya is appeared, where Lord Chaitanya is described as the incarnation who appears in Kali Yuga, and Krishna Varnam, that Varna means activity, that we have the 4 Varnas and the four Varnas and the 4 ashrams. So four kinds of activities. Varna, that means activities of the Brahmins, of the Sudras, of the Kshatriyas and the Brahmins. But Varna means activities. Krishna Varna means here that the incarnation will always repeat the names of Krishna. That and Sangopastana, he appears with his associates and his weapons. His weapons are the holy name. That so there, Lord Chaitanya is clearly described. But of course, the Bhagavatam does not only speak on Lord Chaitanya for Kali Yuga, but in many verses, especially in the 11th and 12th canto, the process for self-realization in Kali Yuga is described as a chanting of the holy name. That is one verse that says that people have so many bad qualities in this age of Kali, but by just chanting these holy names, they can purify their existence and become self-realized. So that's a good quality of the people in this age. Just by chanting the holy name, they can attain perfection. We discussed yesterday also other scriptures, and I did some research on that. And an important verse was the verse of the verse from Mahabharata, where Bhishmadev speaks to Yudhishthir Maharaj and answers his question. And as answer to all the questions, Bhishmadev recites the Vishnu Sahasranam Stotra, the 1,000 names of Vishnu. And he says, Suvarna Varna Hemangov, Parangas Sandamangati, Sanya Sakrit Shama Shanto Nishta Shanti Paraina. The Supreme Lord appears with a golden complexion. His limbs are of the color of molten gold. It takes sannyas, be fully self-controlled, and will be completely peaceful. That's a very, very strong reference. Because Lord Chaitanya appeared in the color of molten gold. That's the color of Srimati Radharani, because he appears in the mood of Srimati Radharani. So the Mahabharata, the Bhagavatam, historically, this is proven. They were written down long before the appearance of Lord Chaitanya. So that's a clear scriptural proof. But our 6 Goswamis, they refer also to a verse from the Padma Purana and the Bhavishya Purana. And they quote the Sanskrit, but not the verse number. I was thinking, where is that verse number? And I did some research, and it seems this verse is not in the present form of the Padma Purana. It's not there, but it must have been there in the time of Lord Chaitanya, because the 6 Goswamis quotes that. I was wondering why is that? Well, I remember when I was reading the Ramayana, Shishra Gopinath Ki, the Ramayana from Krishna Dharma Prabhu, he retold it, and very nicely, that I read the Ramayana, and then I read the same Ramayana from Valmiki by Purna Prajna Prabhu. And I found so many details which were not in Krishna Dharma. Even entire stories which were not there. So, because there is a Ramayana of Valmiki, there is a Ramayana of Tulsidas, so many kinds and the scholars have put that all together in one Ramayana. They call it the critical version. And that's a complete version with the two versions, with the different versions that have been found in history. And it's all documented, which comes from what that's called the critical version. But for the Padma Purana, I did research in the Padma Purana, and I found the original text. It's in archives on the internet, but it's Sanskrit, but it's not written in the Devanagari. It's written in a South Indian language. I don't know, Padma Purana. Interesting. But during the time of the six Goswamis, this verse must have been there in the Padma Purana. But like there are different verses of the Ramayana, there must have been different verses of the Padma Purana. We must say the Padma Purana is a vast literature. It's, I think it's 500,000 verses. It's beyond, the Bhagavatam is 17,000 verses. So that's, but that means, yeah, it's not that it was not in the Padma Purana, because our six Goswamis, they are reliable. So there must have been something there. But scholars today may doubt that, because it's not in the present version. And that, so therefore, Prabhupada didn't quote that. Therefore, it's best we keep for the public outside with the reference of the Bhagavatam, which he quoted, and this reference of the Mahabharata, very strong. That we have also references of Caitanya Charitamrita and Caitanya Upanishad, but these are more, I would say, internal references within the tradition. That's up. So that's just on my research of the evidence of Lord Caitanya, that is the Supreme Personality of Godhead by the scriptures, but there is also evidence by Lord Chaitanya's pastimes himself that he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because he did superhuman activities that just by superhuman activities we can understand that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's another kind of proof, and I want to speak on that today. And I selected a few pastimes, but at the end, I would also like to hear from you which pastimes you remember, that which of Lord Chaitanya, which are superhuman, which can only be done by the Supreme Lord. I will first, yesterday and the day before, I became absorbed in many of these pastimes. And I want to read, because I wrote it down in a summary, because this is from Caitanya Bhagavat. So Lord Caitanya, we have 11 biographies of Lord Chaitanya. And the most complete, we can say, and the last that was compiled by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was Caitanya Charitamrita. But Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes he writes in Caitanya Charitamrita that the real author, the real Vyasadev of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes is Vrindavan Das Thakur, because Vrindavan Das Thakur wrote an earlier biography of Lord Chaitanya and his pastimes, which is called Caitanya Bhagavat. So, and in Caitanya Bhagavat, you find especially details of his pastimes before he took sannyas. Because Krishnadas Kaviraj said, I wrote in Chaitanya Charitamrita what Vrindavan Thakur did not explain explicitly. So that's so the basic pastimes are in Chaitanya Bhagavat, really. And Chaitanya Charitamrita contains pastimes, but deep philosophy. The philosophy, especially from Shiva Goswami in the Satsarandharpas, it really establishes the foundation of our philosophy, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Therefore, it's so important. Srila Prabhupada wanted it printed very quickly, and they did it in 3 months, even not 3 months. They published the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita. But this is from Chaitanya Bhagavat, this pastime that I'm going to read. And it's about a revival of a dead child. And I went through it a few times, and it's very realistically presented, because some scholars want to discredit our movement, and well, that's a little there in general in the scholarly world. Although the Center for Oxford Studies tries to counteract that, and they are quite successful in it. And that's all the glories of Shaunaka Rishi Prabhu and his team there. But usually scholars, they see Chaitanya Charitamrita as an hagiography. Hagiography means the glorification of a great saint. In other words, they think it's exaggeration. It's not the real thing. It's a glorification that, but no, it is not. That to understand Lord Chaitanya, one must have the mercy of the Guru Parampara, and must have the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. When the Chaitanya Charitamrita was just printed, some scholars in California, they got a copy and they were coming together, famous scholars, and they were reading through Chaitanya Charitamrita and discussing it scholarly while drinking wine. So that was their process. But that's not a process to understand the real position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But here, this is a beautiful pastime, and it's in the house of Srivas Thakur. So in the beginning, after Lord Chaitanya revealed himself as when he started his mission of distributing the names of Krishna, they were holding kirtans every day and night at the house of Srivas Thakur with his confidential associates. So if you go to Mayapur, you can visit Shiva's Angam, very nice place. And there the house of Srivas Thakur is still there. And when you go there, you can feel this is the birthplace of the Sankirtan movement. That's the glories of Mayapur. If you go there, please visit it. So within the house, Lord Chaitanya one afternoon, it was afternoon, because they go till late in the night, ecstatic kirtan, and Lord Chaitanya begins to dance and goes completely in ecstasy. So that is what happened. And now I'm going to read a summary I made from this pastime of revival of the dead child by Lord Caitanya. So this is Caitanya Bhagavat, Madhya Lila, chapter, and this is chapter 15. Good. One day, as was usual, the Lord was dancing in Shiva's Pandit's house. The devotees, including Shivas, surrounded the Lord and sang and danced. Just then, in the inner quarters of the house, Shiva's son passed away due to some illness. The ladies helplessly looked on. Outside, the kirtan was in full progress, and the Lord danced in ecstasy. Suddenly, sounds of loud wailing filled the air. Shiva's Pandit hurried inside the house and saw his son lying dead on the bed. Shiva's Pandit was a very elevated devotee. He was grave and knowledgeable. He took charge of the situation and forbade the ladies to lament so bitterly. He said, "You are always aware of Lord Krishna's transcendental potencies. Hence, restrain your tears and contain the sorrow in your heart. The Lord, whose holy name is capable of purifying even the most dreadful sinner, just on a simple utterance and elevates him to the spiritual world, is now present here in person and dancing in ecstasy with his servitors, who are each of them like Lord Brahma himself. And in this auspicious moment, if someone leaves his body, why should anyone lament? I could consider myself fortunate if I had the same fate as this boy. Although you are unable to gain distance from the attachment of family life, you should at least stop crying. Nobody else should learn about this incident, lest this raises an alarm and disturbing the Lord's bliss in chanting. And if this happens, then I shall certainly throw myself into the Ganges." So Shivas said, "Stop crying, don't disturb the kirtan of Lord Caitanya, that your son is most fortunate that he left his body while this kirtan was going on." I remember this was in 1997. It was the 25th of January, a Saturday. Bhakta Paul, my good friend from Ghent, he left his body here before the deities. And after that, well, many things happened, but I had to receive the family when they came. It was a whole thing. And we were together in the house, apartment of Hridaya Caitanya Prabhu at that time. And Hridaya Caitanya Prabhu said to his father the same thing. He said that your son has been very fortunate to leave the body just before the darshan of the day, before seeing the deities. That I want to sign for it, to leave my body like that. That's interesting. I continue. These words had a sobering effect on the women, and they stopped crying. Shiva's Pandit went back to join the kirtan. He was soon swimming in the waves of divine bliss generated by the kirtan and the Lord's presence. Shivas was very exalted and rare, and such are indeed the characteristics of the servant of Lord Caitanya. The Lord danced for a while, relishing the bliss of dancing. Soon the news of Shiva's Pandit's son's passing away reached the devotees. Still no one openly expressed anything, but were profoundly moved within. Lord Caitanya, the omniscient Supreme Personality of Godhead, knew everyone's heart. He inquired, "Today something perturbs my thoughts. What distress has cast its dark shadow on your house, Pandit?" So I was speaking to Shiva's Pandit. Shivas replied, "My Lord, what distress can affect me, since your benign smiling face illuminates my house?" Finally, the leading devotees informed the Lord about Shiva's son's demise. Gravely, the Lord asked, "Why did this happen?" And was told that it occurred. Then he said, "When did this happen?" When did this happen? And the Lord told that it occurred in the early past of the evening, about 4. So the kirtan was going on for 2.5 hours. They started at noontime practically. Well, the Lord was told, "You were not informed of this matter, because Shivas was concerned about disturbing your dancing. His son passed away about 2.5 hours earlier, and with your permission we can begin the necessary last rites now." When Lord Caitanya heard this wonderful story about Shiva's Pandit, he was amazed. He said, "How can I ever live without such an extraordinary companion?" And he began to weep. He said, "How am I going to leave such a saintly person's association who is unaffected by the demise of his son due to his love for me?" Speaking in this matter, the Lord broke down and wept bitterly. The devotees were perplexed to hear the Lord's words, which indicated that he was going away. It did not make sense to them, for none of them knew that in the future the Lord would leave home to embrace the mendicant's life of a sannyasi. When the Lord calmed himself, he took all the devotees to attend the dead boys. In the presence of all the devotees, the Lord addressed the deceased son of Shiva's Pandit. What reasons made... So he spoke to the dead son, to the body, and he said, "What reasons made you leave Shiva's Pandit's house?" The devotees were surprised that the Lord was speaking to the dead body. Their surprise turned into sheer wonderment when the deceased young spoke up, saying, "My Lord, everything happens according to your will alone. Who can influence your will?" The devotees listened attentively to each word the boy continued. Then the boy continued, "I've enjoyed in this body for the time prescribed for my presence in it. Now the time period is over, and I'm leaving to take up another body. And, my Lord, although I must leave my present body, please be merciful to me so that I may never forget you." Who is one's father? Who is one's son? Everyone here is to act on the results of one's individual karma. As long as my destiny allowed me to remain in Shiva's Pandit's house, I've stayed, but I must leave for yet another residence. My Lord, I offer my humble obeisance to you and your dear associates. Please forgive all my offenses and permit me to take your leave. With these parting words, the child lay still. The wonderful miracle of the dead body speaking such words of wisdom was an astonishing experience for the devotees. Experienced the bliss of love of Godhead, they threw themselves at the Lord's lotus feet and said, O Lord, birth after birth, in any condition and place, but please let our devotion be at your lotus feet, be unflinching. Shiva's Pandit and his three brothers prayed earnestly to the Lord, and all the devotees they cried in appreciation and joy. The Lord said, listen to me, Srivas. You are well conversant with the knowledge of family and material life. You are unaffected by the distressful conditions of family life. Not only that, you are so elevated that anyone who sees you will also become free from this entanglement. Nityananda and myself are your two sons, so remove the pain of separation in your heart. The devotees jubilantly greeted these words of divine compassion and love from the Lord. The Lord Caitanya said to Srivas, Nityananda and me, we are from now on accepted as your sons. So this amazing pastime of Caitanya Bhagavat. That there are many other pastimes in the Caitanya Bhagavat, but also in Caitanya Charitamrita, which were showing Lord Chaitanya's in unlimited power. This is from Caitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 9. So Lord Chaitanya is making a tour to South India. And in South India, he comes in the Dandakaranya forest, also known from the Ramayana. And this is Caitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 9. This verse is 312 till 315. Yeah. So within the Dandakaranya forest, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then visited a place called Saptatal. So Saptatal is a place where there are, Sapta means 7, Tal means palm tree. So there were 7 palm trees, and they were very old, very bulky, and very high palm trees. That's because this Saptatal place was there from the pastimes of Lord Ram. It's 2 million years ago. So the name Saptatal is mentioned, Srila Prabhupada writes, in the Kishindya section of the Ramayana, and is described in the 11th and 12th chapter of that section. So Lord Chaitanya, upon seeing the palm trees, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced them. As a result, they all returned to Vaikuntha Loka, the spiritual world. After the 7 palm trees had departed for Vaikuntha, everyone was astonished to see that they were gone. the people began to say, this sannyasi called Caitanya Mahaprabhu must be an incarnation of Lord Ramchandra. Only Lord Ramchandra has the power to send 7 palm trees to the spiritual Vaikuntha planet. So they disappeared. It means sometimes I heard one devotee saying, he had some doubts because he was an astrologer. By astrology, he was doing the chart of many devotees. And he said to me that their karma is not changed. They have the same karma. Because it's in their chart that so sometimes we have the misconception that when I chant Hare Krishna, then my karma is 100% away. And that's true. By chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, without offenses, between brackets, in Nectar of Devotion is mentioned 4 kinds of karma are destroyed. The karma which is in the make, that in the karma in seed form, that karma which is fructifying, that and all your future karma is gone. And that's true. But the karma of the body, your body is made of karma. You should never forget that. When you start chanting Hare Krishna, that karma of the body, it goes to an end. But it continues for a while, that karma. Prabhupada says it's like a fan. It's you pull out the electricity and it continues for a while. So it continues till the end of our lives, that karma, and then we don't get a new body. But because if all your karma is gone, you disappear. And that's what happened with these palm trees. All their karma was gone. He embraced them and their bodies was gone. So that's very extraordinary. Only the Supreme Lord can do that. There are also misconceptions in our movement. I take initiation and then all my karma is gone by the initiation. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. When I need you again, I will let you know. Thank you for taking my karma. But it doesn't work like that. The spiritual master takes your karma. That's a fact. But it takes your karma if you're following his instructions. That's what Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita. Dat vinipanapadna pariprishna sevya upadiksham tatehyam jnana stat production. You accept a spiritual master, and then you are serving him, inquiring about spiritual life, and follow his instructions. Prabhupada, in the Prabhupada stresses, following his instructions. And if you follow the instructions, next verse, Yadchatvana Punarvam Evan Yasyasya Pandava Yena Bhutani Abseshani Dakshasya Atmatyatomai. And then you start to see gradually, by the knowledge that you get, and by practicing devotional service, you start to realize that knowledge, and you start to see that everything belongs to Krishna, and it's from Krishna. And then the next verse is Apsitas Bababyo Savabyo Babakritama Savangana Plavenima Krishnam Sandrashyasi. Then you enter the boat of transcendental knowledge, and you are able to cross over ocean of material suffering. And then Bhasmatakaratata say the next verse is, as firewood turns to ashes, all as firewood is turned to ashes by fire, this fire of knowledge burns all your karma. And then it happens. And then the spiritual master takes it to the Guru Paraya, it's gone. But you must follow the instructions. That's the condition. That initiation means beginning to follow the instructions, Srila Prabhupada explains. Of course, there is a deeper aspect there that we see in the 6th canto, Prithu Maharaj. Prithu Maharaj, it's mentioned there in a verse, Prabhupada explains it, that Prithu Maharaj gets 1/6 of all the karma, good karma and bad karma, of all the citizens. So even materially, as if you take responsibility for someone, you get the karma, good and bad. That's something to be careful with. So the spiritual master gets also 1/6 of that karma, for sure. But he burns that. That because he takes responsibility for the disciple. But the essential point is that we sing it every morning. Shakudana dilo jama pavusha. Divyagan rite pokasito. By the mercy of the spiritual master, the transcendental knowledge that manifests in the heart. And that's the process. And that's also confirmed by the Bhagavatam. That we have the verses in the 2nd chapter of the 1st canto, starting with Susrisosha Dasya Vastev Kataruchi. So when the process starts with hearing that and serving the spiritual master. And when we serve the spiritual master, Shrimatas Vagatakashna Punya Shravana Kirtana Dhyanta Doyabatani Vidunot Sutam. Krishna will in the heart is pleased because we serve the spiritual master. And by that we get taste. And Krishna purifies our heart. So by following it's a process. It's not just the fire sacrifice. And that's a misconception. We see that there also here these trees disappeared. That if all our karma is gone, we disappear. Because our body is made of karma. That's the point. But there are many extraordinary pastimes. Even as a child, Lord Caitanya did extraordinary pastimes. This is also in Caitanya Bhagavat from Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, that he was is a story of the Brahman. He was maybe 3-4 years old, Nimai, at that time, and there was a Brahman who visited the house of Jagannath Mishra, and he was worshipping a Saligram which was representing Balagopal. And he had been fasting for a few days, and then Jagannath Mishra invited him to cook for his deity, for the Saligram Shila. And the Brahman accepted and started to cook. And then he was offering what he cooked before his Saligram Shila, and he started to ring the bell. And then little Nimai appeared, and he started to eat the offering. And the Brahman was exclaiming, was saying, yes, it was, alas, alas, this young boy has spoiled the offering. Now, maybe Krishna wants me to fast. But then, after that Jagannath Mishra came and said, forgive him, it's an accident. We will keep him in the room there, and you cook again and do the offering. So the Brahma was cooking again and doing the offering, and he was ringing the bell, but somewhere or another, Nimai escaped, and Nimai appeared again before him and started to eat the offering. And then the Brahmin said, yeah, now it's sure, Krishna wants me to fast. But then Jagannath Mishra felt very unhappy, but then it was the brother of Nimai. What was his name again? Vishvarup. Vishvarup appeared before the Brahman, and the Brahman became attracted to the beauty of Vishvarup. And Vishvarup said, yeah, please, it's getting late now. The boy will sleep now. So please cook again, because that's, for us, that would be very inauspicious, a Brahman who comes and we can offer him anything. So it is together with Jagannath Mishra, because Jagannath Mishra was running after Nimai. I'm going to beat him. But then Satya and the other women say, oh, calm down. It will be okay now. We will bring him to another house. Finally, the Brahman cooked again. It was night. Everyone was sleeping, and he started offering. But still, somewhere or another, when he was started to offer, Nimai appeared again before him. And then he started to eat the offering. And then the Brahman became really upset. But then Nimai, he appeared before the Brahman in a four-armed form. Because before he said to the Brahman, it's the third time you are calling me to eat, so I'm coming. And then he appeared for the Brahman in a four-armed form, holding a conch, disc, club, lotus, and he ate butter with one hand from a pot, held in another hand, and with two hands he played flute. So the Brahman saw this wonderful form and Krishna also showed his abode, and he bestowed unlimited mercy to the Brahman. And the Brahman became completely ecstatic. So he explained to the Brahman, or he showed to the Brahman his own identity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he said to the Brahman, you are my eternal servant. And before you came also as a Brahman to the house of Nanda Maharaj, and you have fed me there also. after this incident, but Nimai, he took again his form as a child, but he said to the Brahman that I forbid you to disclose this secret to anyone, because Lord Chaitanya is Shana avatar. So after this incident, the Brahman would beg alms here and there during the day, but every day he would visit the house of Jagannath Mishra to see the Lord, but he never revealed it to anyone. So yes, that's not the only time he revealed himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that I have here. Let's see if I can read it. Make it a little bigger. Yeah. This is from Caitanya Bhagavat. Lord Caitanya is showing his universal form to Advaita Acharya. Caitanya Bhagavat, yeah. So I will read from Caitanya Bhagavat. I have it here in PDF form. You can download the PDF from ISKCON Desire Tree. Free for everyone if you want to download it. Maybe also Vanapedium. It's a database also. Yeah. I looked in the database, but I found only the first part in my database. No, but anyway, but it's available, no problem. The Lord always soothes away his devotees' distress and worries. So Lord Chaitanya came to see Advaita. Seeing Advaita supine in Shiva's courtyard, he took him by the hand, leading him into the temple and shut the doors. Giving Advaita a consoling smile, the Lord said, "Listen, Acharya, tell me what is your desire right now? What is to be done?" Advaita said, "Oh Lord, you are essence of all the Vedas. I want only you. What else is there to want?" The Lord laughed slightly and replied, "Here I'm in person. What more do you want?" Advaita insisted, "But you say it's true. Here you are before me, the absolute truth, yes. I would like to see some of your mystic opulences." The Lord softly asked, "Tell me what you desire." Advaita said, "My Lord, I intensely desire to see what Arjuna had seen long ago." As soon as Advaita had spoken these words, Advaita saw a chariot in the midst of a raging battlefield. Millions of soldiers were engaged in combat all around the chariot. Sitting inside this chariot was the beautiful blackish four-handed form of Lord Krishna, holding conch, mace, lotus, and disc in each of his hands. Advaita was bright, then beholding the universal form of Lord Krishna. All the planets and stars like sun, moon, and mountains, rivers, oceans, forests well visible within this wondrous manifestation of Krishna. He saw Arjuna standing before this universal form with folded hands, offering words of prayer and praise. He saw millions of pairs of eyes and millions of open mouths with huge licking flames exuding from out of them. All the atheists and sinful demons were being sucked into this mighty conflagration to be consumed. The fault finders and the heartless ones who perpetrate violence on others all burned into the flames from the mouth of Lord Chaitanya. Advaita was blessed with the Lord's special mercy, and therefore he could see this marvelous universal form of Lord Caitanya. As Advaita saw this universal form, he began to cry in great ecstasy due to intense love for the Lord, and falling to his knees in great humility, he begged the Lord for his eternal association. For his eternal association as his Lord and Master. While Advaita was seeing Lord Caitanya manifest his universal form, Lord Nityananda was roaming the streets of Navadvip, absorbed in divine bliss as his usual vocation. Lord Caitanya, because of his supramundane position, could immediately know that Lord Caitanya was showing his special universal form to Advaita. He quickly went to Shiva's house and headed straight to the temple room. Lord Caitanya also knew that Nityananda was coming. Shutting the doors behind him, Lord Nityananda saw the unlimited form of the Lord before him, and falling down like a stick, he offered his obeisance and closed his eyes. The Lord spoke, "Arise, O Nityananda. You are as dear to me as my own life. You know everything about me. Anyone who is attached to you in loving devotion, I make him my own. No one is more dear to me than you. And anyone who tries to see differences in you and Advaita will never gain the proper knowledge to understand the Supreme God or me in this incarnation." Nityananda and Advaita began to dance jubilantly. Lord Caitanya responded with thunderous voice, saying, "Look at yourself." Nityananda and Advaita, overwhelmed with joy, started glorifying the Lord with beautiful prayers. Lord Vishvambhara smiled upon them with great appreciation. Although all these transcendental incidences were being enacted in Shiva's residence, none of others could see. It was confidential. So not only Krishna showed this universal form, also Lord Chaitanya to Advaita. I fear another pastime should be here. So this Lord Caitanya traveling to the Jharkhand forest, Caitanya Mahaprabhu was passing through the jungles. 5 or 7 tigers came joining the deer. The tigers began to follow the Lord. Seeing the tigers and deer following him, Caitanya Mahaprabhu immediately remembered the land of Vrindavan. He then began to recite a verse describing the transcendental quality of Vrindavan. Vrindavan is a transcendental abode of the Lord. There is no hunger, anger, or thirst there. Though naturally inimical, both human beings and fierce animals live together in transcendental friendship. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Chant Hare Krishna," the tigers and deer began to dance and chant Krishna. When all the tigers and thus danced and jumped, Balabhadra Bhattacharya, that is his servant, saw them and was struck with wonder. Indeed, the tigers and deer began to embrace one another, and touching mouths, they began to kiss. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw all this fun, he began to smile. Finally, the animals, and he left the animals and continued on his way. So these are just some excerpts of the extraordinary pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. Also, it's also the pastime when Lord Chaitanya was instructed by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. When Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya arrived, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was in charge of the Jagannath Puri temple. He was a great scholar. And when Lord Chaitanya the first time arrived in Jagannath Puri, the first time he went to Jagannath Puri, and he came before the deities, he lost external consciousness. He fell on the ground. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was there, and he saw this. He was thinking that this seemed to be genuine symptoms of ecstasy. And Lord Chaitanya was lying on the ground, and he took some cotton and held it before his nostrils, and he could see that he was still breathing. And he instructed the servants, the pandas, to bring his body to his house, and there immediately there he remained unconscious for a long time, but then in the meantime his associates arrived in Jagannath Puri. And they heard what happened, and when they went to the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and finally they started to chant Hare Krishna, and Lord Chaitanya came again to external consciousness. And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said to Lord Chaitanya, you are still such a young sannyasi. He was 24 years old. You are still such a young sannyasi. And you are so beautiful that it's very dangerous to take sannyas at such a young age. You must really be fixed in your vows. And you can be fixed in your vows when you are strong in studying Vedanta. That you are a Bharati sannyasi, but Bharati sannyasi, because he took sannyas of a Mayavadi, Keshava Bharati. But he said, I will make from you a Saraswati sannyasi, a higher sannyasi, by instructing you in the Vedanta Sutra. And Lord Chaitanya was very humble and said, yes, by your mercy, I took I made this error, Lord Chaitanya said, to take sannyas, but anyway, I did it. And my mother instructed me to come to Jagannath Puri, so I came here, but I'm happy that you want to help me and make me fixed in my vows of sannyas. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya started to explain Vedanta Sutra during 7 days to Lord Chaitanya. 7 days. And Lord Chaitanya said, during 7 days he didn't say anything, because Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was explaining the Mayavadi philosophy of the impersonalist philosophy of Vedanta Sutra. And after 7 days, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya asked Lord Chaitanya, I'm not sure you are understanding what I'm saying, because you are not saying anything. Well, Lord Chaitanya said, I understand very clearly the direct meaning of the Vedanta Sutras, but your explanation are like clouding that meaning. Okay. Sarvabhauma said, then said to Lord Chaitanya, you explain me the Atmaram verse. And Lord Chaitanya explained the Atmaram verse 18 different ways. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya became puzzled. How is that possible? But finally, he understood that Lord Caitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Lord Caitanya showed him a form to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, a form he never showed anyone before. And that is a six-armed form, Sadbhuj form, 6 arms, two arms of Lord Ramachandra with bow and arrow, 2 arms of Krishna playing a flute, and 2 arms Lord Chaitanya carrying a danda and a water pot. And after that, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he became completely convinced that Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and surrendered them to him. He became a devotee. So yes, this time is up. Any question, comments? So. Yes. Oh, I got to carry it.
Scholars finally decided that it fits better another category called the sacred biography, because it contains so many details, historical details, political details, social details of that time that actually very accurate presentation of the society. And so we call it a sacred biography.
That's good news. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yes.
You mentioned the verse from the Mahabharata, Bhishma.
Yeah.
What was its verse? Reference?
Yeah, I gave you. I mentioned that yesterday, that Mahabharata, that this is from this is the Vishnu Sahasranam, that is the Anushashan Parva, Anusa Asan Parva.
And it's also in the Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Yeah. And it's verses. It's chapter 127, verse 148. Mahabharata.
I have another question.
Yeah.
That an avatar is recognized by different ways. This extraordinary activities. We must be mentioned in the scriptures.
Yeah.
And the Guru and Acharyas, they also give recognition about it.
Yeah.
Now we see that there are many other persons in the past who did some extraordinary activities. And they might not all be like avatars. They can say also like Caitanya, actually, although he made so many different, wonders. But what is the proof that he is actually the spirit personality of Godhead?
Yeah. That's true, but Lord Caitanya, that is Krishna himself, and to understand that, one must understand the internal and external reasons for his appearance. And it's the Yuga avatar for this age, and these Yuga avatars are described in the scriptures. So that's the criteria that if someone presents himself as an avatar, then we must ask where is that in the scriptures. Therefore, we come up with scriptural evidence that, but the deeper truth of Lord Caitanya can only be understood when we become his devotee, because that's what Krishna says to Arjuna. This knowledge should not be given to those who are not austere, who are not my devotees. Only my devotees can understand this. Only because they are non-envious, they are my friends, and so on. That gives anasuyam. So to understand the deeper truth of Lord Chaitanya means we have to purify ourselves, and he gives the method, chanting the holy names of Krishna.
So actually then, we can say that another point of seeing an avatar or incarnation of the Lord is by special mercy of seeing the Lord himself.
The deeper truths.
Like he appeared to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So he got this divine mercy in one sense. So not only the sastra or the physical, because they say you can see on the lines in the hand and different external that he is an avatar, but also it's like by revelation. It's okay. Is that the fourth point is then by revelation we can also have proof.
Yeah. Because that's revelation means self-realization. If you are self-realized, you are direct in contact with Krishna. Pratyaksha padam dharmam, direct experience of Krishna. Then there is no doubt. But that experience you cannot share with others. That although the pure devotee can give his mercy and put you on the way to get this realization. We need mercy. That mercy is given to us by Srila Prabhupada. By Srila Prabhupada only we got to know Lord Chaitanya. Otherwise there was no way. It's the mercy coming to the Guru Parampara. Because many Hindus, many have never heard from Lord Caitanya, and many have heard from him and consider him a great saint, but not the Supreme Personality of God. You need mercy for this.
So it's in that revelation.
Yeah, because in Namprakasha Sarvasya, in 725 Bhagavad Gita, I'm not revealing myself to everyone, Krishna says. That I remain covered. As he says that in Bhagavad Gita. Thank you. Okay.
Sitting here and we're listening to all these pastimes where they were not supposed to be disclosed.
Yeah.
So we are very fortunate that Radhadesh Thakur, shared this with us.
Yeah, that is their mercy. Yeah.
We were pushed around, it was so lucky to have.
But yeah, that's true, but I think every devotee in his life sees some miracles in his own life. We just need to open our eyes. Someone asked Priya Prabhupada, well, you're a Swami, show me some miracle. And Prabhupada said, he pointed to his Western disciples that this is my miracle. And that's the great miracle, that's the change of our heart. That most of us were straight on the way to hell, and that's true. But you come in contact with Krishna consciousness, and your life becomes auspicious, so many auspicious things. Since I heard this about Karuna Mai, I'm always thinking about it. She's an example of purity and simple. That when I was in the UK, I was once in Brighton. Brighton is on the coast. I went for an Amhata program there. And when I arrived, when they brought me with the car, she was waiting outside. It was very interesting. She helped me also with preaching in Flanders, organizing these programs, but always humble, very simple. And when I had programs, so even as a brahmachari, I asked her after the program to correct me. And she gave me feedback. And from her, I accepted everything because I knew she was pure. And that's, I don't know what's happening in Mayapur now, but I'm sure Krishna will take care of that feeling.
Receive good news.
Yeah.
She's recovered.
She's recovering. That's very good news. Thank you so much. That makes my day good. Thank you.
And just a little question about this boy who was there. And then at a certain moment he started to reply to Lord Caitanya. And he said, yes, I have to go. And I have to go and accept another body. And I was thinking, why he has to accept another body? He's so pure, why a spiritual body then? I was a little bit confused.
Yeah, these are the ways of Lord Caitanya, that is a devotee, that's what Lord Chaitanya said, that I don't want any followers, no association with women, no wealth. I don't want even liberation, he says. I just want to serve you, birth after birth after birth. And that is a devotee. Well, whatever Krishna wants, he will bring me, and I will serve him. So Krishna uses his pure devotees for certain assignments that it is many believe Prabhupada is now somewhere else preaching, because Krishna wants them to use as instrument. But anyway, that's already a spiritual birth, that's a birth. That in the preaching. We see in this pastime, Srivas Thakur is completely on the spiritual platform. Is zero affected by the passing away of his son. That we cannot imagine that. But these are eternal associates. Of course, we know Srivas is Narada Muni, that is a perfect devotee. But once we have that platform, it doesn't matter whether you go to another place in the material world to serve Krishna or to the spiritual world. You are always in ecstatic love for Krishna. And that was Prabhupada. And someone asked Prabhupada, what was the earliest moment you remember you became Krishna conscious? And Prabhupada replied, I cannot remember any moment that I was not Krishna conscious. What does that mean? Prabhupada was already on that position. I hope that helps. Yes, that was
Said Narada Muni he was now. So now the movie was already before in the situation.
Yeah.
That the child was dead and he was alive.
Yeah, yeah. That was the story of Chitraketu. That it's very similar, but the words are different. Because in Chitraketu, Narada Muni comes and revives the child that has been poisoned. And the child sit up, and it's a soul who speaks. And Narada Muni asked the question to this child, so why did you leave untimely? Don't you see that you have caused so much distress to your father and your mother? And then the soul replied, Father and mother, I went to millions and millions of births. Which father and mother do you mean? That so that makes us think. All these relationships in this world are temporary and will vanquish, finish. But relationships on material platform are useless. But relationships in between devotees are most valuable because we help each other to make progress in spiritual life. And that's a great gift. Therefore, Lord Krishna says, it's more important to serve my devotee than me. So important is that. So we must develop this friendship with each other. And that's Rupa Goswami's program, in the fourth verse of Nectar of Instruction. So we must share Krishna consciousness with each other, and that makes us enriched. So, and it's so important. It's sometimes I see in temples, people are sitting there and they are chanting every morning, and they are with each other chanting every morning for a few years, but they never spoke with each other. That's not good. We have to build relationships, and I feel this community is very nice because of these relationships. That makes us strong and helps each other to advance in Krishna consciousness. And therefore, Radhadesh is my home and will remain my home, although I'm all over the world sometimes. But yeah, very good. Thank you very much. Kanta Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki, Chaitanya Bhagavat ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.